Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party, it's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Hey, what up, though, baby? Hey, tell us about Oakland University.
We're hearing music.
What just went down here?
Oh, what do you mean?
We're not hearing that video.
Horizon League champions?
Yes,
is that
sir.
what you mean?
Let's go!
Let's go! Horizon League champs, baby! Regular season!
Let's go!
It's tournament time! It's tournament time!
Horizon League regular season champion! That boy around it.
What up, though, Detroit?
Let's go.
It is Wake Up Woodward, and we are at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi.
Let's go.
It's Michigan's what? It's Michigan's #1 dealership.
Number one.
Number one.
Number
man.
one.
Number one. Dealer of the year after dealer of the year after dealer of the year. You could call them probably the champions of the car dealership. And you guys, you see this right here?
Check that out.
You see this right here, man? We're celebrating a championship today. Shout out to the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies. The Wake Up Woodward crew had boots on the ground, man. It was fun.
It was fun. It was a blast. It was a 75-70 championship clinching victory. The regular season title, Oakland University men's basketball team defeated the Detroit Titans to clinch the regular season title for the Horizon League. It was awesome. It was senior night.
Yeah.
It was senior night, too. They honored, it was senior Rocket Watts, Jack Golke, Blake Lampman, and the likely Horizon League MVP of the regular season, Trey Townsend.
Yo, and it was fun to kind of just be amongst the people. This is something that we're going to continue to do as a crew, the Wake Up Woodward crew. We're going to be at Pistons games. We're going to be at Red Wings games. We're going to be at Tigers games. We're going to try and get around to some of these college events as well. Man, shout out, man. I know JB, we got to kind of shout out his school too, man.
We do. Let's hold on until he gets his mic set up. He's in the background doing his thing. But there was a lot that went on. But that game, it was a blast. We were sitting in the stands with the fans, with Giovanni Mosheri, who we just saw on the screen. He's an OU super fan, also sports media director at WXOU 88.3. It was a lot of fun. We saw senior guard Blake Lampman lead the way, 20 points. Trey Townsend added 18 points and 6 rebounds, and they got to cut the nets down. It was awesome.
It was an awesome experience, man. We took pictures with everybody. You know what, though? We got to shout out one of our co-workers here, man. Neil Thru, man. Shout out to Neil. He hooked it up for the fellas, man. We got to get in there, and it was cool to see him in his element as well. If you don't know, he is the golden voice of the Golden Grizzlies, man. He was on the TV broadcast. It was on ESPN Plus this game. And you know what? We actually got on TV.
Oh, yeah. Did we? Come on.
We got on ESPN Plus.
Because we were standing right behind the basket.
Right behind the basket. Yeah, yep. I went back, looked at it. I was like, I knew we got on there. I knew it. So that's a pretty cool thing. Shout out to Neil, too, man. We got to kind of walk around. We did this kind of guerrilla warfare thing. We were like, man, we're just going to go. We're going to say what up to Neil. Right in media row. And it was a fun time. Shout out to Greg Campy, man, the legend. He, Rocket Watts, and a couple other people took the time to take pictures with us, including the president of Oakland University, man.
That's Ora Peskowitz.
It was a great time, man.
You see what she's got in her hand? That's a piece of the net she just cut down. It was epic.
She was excited, too.
Epic. It was a blast. I'm excited.
Shout out Rocket Watts.
Oh, there he is. Shout out to KG, too, by the way. Mean mugging and every picture. KG, what was that line you gave me when I said, what's it take to get you to smile on a picture? You said,
You got to pay for it.
let's go. It was a blast. So we're going to go around the city right now, talk about all the sports from this weekend. Coming up at 8:15, segment 2. We're talking Tigers. We're talking this situation that's developing. A lot of hate on Mr. Scott Harris, Chris Illidge, not paying Matt Chapman, not paying Cody Bellinger. I have something to tell you guys about that. I want to ease your mind. Not a lot of people are going to agree with me, but I got to pull back a little bit. All right,
at
8:30.
Hey, listen, I'm trusting. You are a Detroit Tigers beat writer and beat reporter. Your word is going to be truthful on this show as it relates to the Tigers.
This is a tough one to put my foot down on at the start of my Tigers reporting career, but we're doing it. We're doing it.
All right.
At 8:30, we're going to talk about that Lions Amon-Ra St. Brown contract extension talks are heating up. They're really getting after it. At 8:45, we're getting into that NFL Combine, reviewing everything that happened over the last 4 days down in Indianapolis. There was a lot of headlines made. Also, much ado about nothing. It was exciting, but again, remember what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell care most about? It's those interviews. It's the off-the-field stuff. Is it a culture fit?
The game tape as well.
Yes.
Like who they are as football players, not just who they are when the lights are on for the combine drills.
Exactly. We're going to continue that for maybe 2 segments, and there's also a free agent who's hitting the market, likely hitting the market, not getting tagged by the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about a primetime defensive tackle. Maybe he's a target for the Detroit Lions.
You know what? As soon as that news kind of lit up that this player that we're going to talk about was a free agent, the second aspect of that I saw was reports everywhere that this is a player that the Lions need to go look at. This is a player that the Lions may kick the tires on. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see what the Lions do from here, because I believe that position is also one that's very, very rich in this draft as well. And we continue to go back and forth between, do they continue to do this thing through the draft and just kind of sprinkling in these vets here and there, or do they go out there this season with the Super Bowl window that is open and make some splashes to try and really, really put this thing over the top?
100%. 100p Kool-Aid. So tell us, it was a tough weekend for the Pistons. Just give us a little rundown. They had 2 games Friday, lost to the Cavs, 110-100. Cade did have 21 points and 10 assists that game, and they lost last night to the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, 113-91. And what you're going to continue to see is what we talked about last week with the Detroit Pistons. It still rings true. Their defense is much better. The problem is, and Isaiah Stewart said it in the clip that we played last week when I was able to talk to him, the offense will come. They recognize that their offense must get better, and we want to see wins. It's not just the improvements in the incremental stats. Obviously, their defensive rating has improved to league average, and it was in the bottom of the barrel before the trade deadline. Now these Pistons got to figure out a way to complement Cade Cunningham. And if there's any assessment at all being done right now, it's got to be what you do to not just surround Cade Cunningham with the right amount of talent, but what you do to make sure this team has the proper defensive-minded bigs on their squad. Because in the Orlando Magic game, they subbed Isaiah Stewart out at the 6-minute mark in the first quarter and then brought him back later to be a backup for Jalen Duren, a backup 5. That way that they're able to reduce the minutes of James Wiseman. But what you realize is the Pistons just don't have enough talent right now, and that's going to continue to ring true as this season goes on. I like some of the things they've done.
Yeah.
I like some of the talent that they have right now, but there's still a long way to go. So,
100%.
Yeah, not the weekend that you want. You want to at least get one of those dubs, especially over the Magic. They've continued to play them tough, but last night was one of those ones where they just got outmatched on the boards and in a physical standpoint, man. And it's not what you want to see out of a Detroit team.
Not at all. You hope they're probably staying down in Florida, staying down in the Miami area. They play the Heat tomorrow night at 7:30. So we're going to talk more in-depth Pistons, definitely on Wednesday with Rod Beard. It's our Woodward Pistons Day.
Yes,
so hopefully they aren't partying too hard tonight. They come ready to go against the Miami Heat on Tuesday.
That might be their only win of the week, partying hard.
Maybe they should, actually. Sometimes you just need a night out.
Yeah.
You sweat it all out in the next game. You're not worried about who knows.
Just do something different, man.
Do something crazy.
Do something crazy.
Michigan basketball, they lost, surprise, surprise, to Ohio State. Rivals. What was it, 84-61. Doug McDaniel led Michigan with 19 points. Michigan moves to 8-22 on the season. Cool.
That's it.
Yep.
Next.
Yep. Thank you. Next. Actually, KG, will you put that mic over on JB for a second? JB, I want to ask you.
Oh, because we got another championship in the state?
No, not yet, although that is coming up next. But, JB, DJ for the Rockers, for the Motor City Rockers.
That's right.
You guys had a big weekend. Give us show some love to your team out there in Fraser? Fraser.
That's right.
We can't hear you. You might be muted.
Am I muted still?
Nope, you good now.
I hear you.
All right. Cool. Yeah, shout out to the Motor City Rockers, man. They had a clean sweep this weekend over the Blue Ridge Bobcats, won both games Friday and Saturday. Friday was a little bit closer, though.
Shootout?
It ended in 2-2. Then it went to overtime, and then the Rockers won in a shootout overtime. Shout out to TJ Sneath, number 17. He got the game-winning goal. But, I mean, it was a pretty exciting game and exciting weekend. So, shout out to the Rockers, man.
Is he related to TJ Oshie?
I don't think so, but I don't know. Who knows?
What you going to do?
What you going to do?
What you going to do?
But another, JB's our Michigan State representative, and I know you maybe didn't follow the Michigan State hockey team. I was going to give them a ton of love. They won their first Big Ten championship ever on the ice. It was the first in 11. The Big Ten hockey conference was created about 11 years ago. So it was their first win. And as I was scrolling through X, looking for some more details, I just kept coming across these Spartan accounts that were just out of nowhere ripping on Michigan, ripping on Blake Corum, pictures of interviews at the combine saying all their wins should be forfeited. They cheated. All this is BS. So, all right, they won. Congrats. If any of you want to give some more love to Michigan State, let it fly.
I mean, I would love to, but, I love MSU, but I don't follow MSU hockey. I'm glad they won the championship, and as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Let's do that hockey.
You know what?
Shout out to the Spartan hockey team. It's a good championship. Go on, get out of here, KG. At least we got one championship, damn it.
And I love the way that Mr. Baseball Broder teed that up as well. He made sure to mention that Michigan State won, and then instantly was like, you know what? Skip Michigan State.
I want to show them love, and I just keep seeing this idiocracy.
Man.
Yeah, but you're going to go after Blake, a picture of Blake Corum giving an interview. Blake Corum is one of the greatest guys ever.
Yeah.
Of course, there have been, allegations of some stuff. Say what you – come on. He's not at Michigan anymore. He's going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Just get over it.
Yeah, and he impressed some people too, man. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well.
We are. Michigan State also, they lost in basketball to Purdue, number 2 Purdue. They lost 80-74. That's number 2. So they got a little ways to sneak into that tournament. They might need to win the Big Ten championship. Otherwise, they're at risk of maybe getting held out.
And it's crazy because we were talking about Michigan State at the beginning of this show. 4 weeks ago, actually. I think Friday I said it's our 3rd week. It's our 4th week. We're entering our 5th week, man. Which is crazy because this show is as old as my newborn.
Come on.
Literally, man. But we just celebrated her 1-month birthday on Saturday. So definitely shout out to my wife, shout out to my daughter, shout out to my kids too, man. They've been great big siblings.
It was my mom's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Wow, man.
Shout out to you.
A lot of birthdays, man.
Yeah.
Championships and everything. It was a great weekend. But when we started the show, Michigan State was in a completely different trajectory than where they are right now. It seemed like they were really about to January, February, Izzo into the March Madness tournament. And now it seems like their chances are on life support to be able to kind of get one of those bids. Now it looks like they might, like you said, have to do this thing through the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
And I would feel confident about their chances, except for the fact that some of the teams that's had their numbers at the top of this division, I don't see them dropping a game to Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. But the Red Wings, too, they've had a tough stretch. We covered their Thursday loss on our Friday show, but they lost again to the Panthers 4-0 on Saturday. This is a tough one. I mean, they were outmatched in this game. They didn't have that juice that they've had these last couple of weeks. Even on Alex DeBrink at bobblehead night, they just didn't have it. Florida Panthers are a great team, but the Red Wings got outmatched.
I mean, you know what it is, man. Look, let's get them in LCA. Let's get either a Detroit Lions play to ring the bell, to ring the horn, or get our Wake Up Woodward crew back in, because right now we're 2-0 when we have boots on the ground with the teams that we support. But you're right, man. With the Red Wings, they're the team that I'm not going to really, really harp too much on some of their losses. I believe that this type of playoff push, when you got a lot of these teams that are really, really trying to make a push, and the Red Wings are a little bit, in my opinion, ahead of expectation right now. I'm going to give them a little bit of a break. I'm not going to necessarily judge them the way that I would if they were more put together for this, but we know that their defense is going to be something that is going to be up and down as it relates to this last stretch of the season. I want to see how they respond from this. Just like with the Detroit Lions, we wanted to see how do they respond after they hit kind of a bad stretch. And every time they hit a bad stretch, in football, obviously, there's only 17 games. So when you have a loss, you want to see what you're going to do the next game.
Facts.
In sports where you have 82 games, I want to see what this team is going to do after they hit a little bit of a bad stretch. You got 2 games, 3 games. What are you going to do after that? And I do believe that the Red Wings are primed to be able to, especially with their offense and if their goalies can get hot, that they're going to bounce back, man. I'm not too worried about the Detroit Red Wings right now.
No, this is an important week, too. We got the trade deadline coming up on Friday. Friday, March 8th, the NHL trade deadline. There's going to be a lot of talk around the Red Wings. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Stevie Yzerman stays pat and doesn't do anything. Or you go out and you get a top defenseman. But I think he's waiting for Edvinsson to be ready down at the Grand Rapids Griffins. And he's a big 6'6" bruiser. He's one who can maybe come up to the NHL and be that person this season. He's definitely there for the long term, but we'll see by Friday.
It's going to be interesting to see because we talk about with the Detroit Lions, they're in an aspect where they have a Super Bowl window. With the Red Wings, they're kind of at a place where it's like a playoff window, and we know that they can get there. And that's what I wanted to see out of the Detroit Red Wings entering the season. Even before this show started, got to get out to a couple Red Wing games this year. Shout out to my guy Anthony Bellino. And shout
AC
out to
Bellino.
Gentry, to Michael Gentry, our previous Detroit Red Wings beat writer, and was able to kind of get out to some games, kind of get the feel. Took Kid Kool-Aid out there, man, because he loves all sports. He loves hockey, man. He got the net, the stick.
Kid Kool-Aid, he's an up-and-coming sports personality. This is Kool-Aid's oldest?
Yes.
Oldest son.
Yes.
He's a stud. He's got I know you might not be able to tell from Kool-Aid's flow, but Kid Kool-Aid's got some hair on him.
Oh, bro.
He's got some I should say lettuce. He's got some lettuce.
Every kid I've had, the hairline has gone back just a little bit more, man.
It's shining. It's shining.
That's off that Oakland Golden Grizzlies championship run, man.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Before we're going to talk Tigers, so I'm going to save the little weekend rundown till the next segment. But there's something. There's talk about Scott Harris that's been going on. I just got to put my little stamp on it when we come back. But let me tell you about Planet Fitness, because
work it out for us.
I'll tell you about Planet Fitness. I'll work it out for you. It is the judgment-free zone. Planet Fitness, for just $10 a month, you get access to a wide variety of workout equipment. It is judgment-free, so that means you go in. You aren't judged by anybody. Everyone there is working on their own fitness goals. As Neil Rule says, they don't have a rock wall, but they got everything else you need to reach those fitness goals. They got saunas. They got hydro massage beds. They got it all. Go check it out. For $10 a month, you can get a membership at Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. Essential.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for 2 things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party, it's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. And you know what? we got to kind of do our starting lineup today, man. First of all, shout out to our six-man Terry Foster. Shout out to our brother Sam Reynolds, a.k.a. Flannel Sam.
Thanks.
We also got Mr. KG over there on the sounds right now.
Yeah.
We got JB Smooth running TD today. And it's our Detroit Lions and Detroit Tigers beat reporter and writer, Mr. Matthew Broder. And I'm your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Detroit Pistons beat writer and beat reporter.
This guy.
And we got to talk about some Detroit Tigers, man. Summer's almost here. The weather is starting to improve. It's smelling like baseball in the air a little bit. But with baseball and with Tigers and with where they've been, you already know there's probably going to be a little bit more complaints and angst right now than it is going to be about cheers, especially with some of the expectations that people are starting to put on the Tigers of being able to be in the run for the AL Central title, man. And a lot of people believe that has more to do with where the AL Central is at.
Yeah, it does.
And less to do with where the Detroit Tigers are at. But they're not necessarily happy with where things are as it relates to making sure you can punch that ticket for the AL Central title.
Right. This is so what Scott Harris is building for the future is for more. He's building for more than just the AL Central this year. They're trying to rebuild this entire organization, their entire philosophy on hitting, on pitching, and on drafting and developing players. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
They're taking a page from the Lions book, from the Red Wings. They want to draft and develop their players to actually build something sustainable here in Detroit. We're that old English D with
That
pride.
longevity, that
Yes.
long-term success.
Yes,
Yeah.
and baseball is unique where it is one of those games where you can go out and you can make big splashes. There's no salary cap. There are luxury taxes, so you got to have some cheddar. But it's one of those things you can go out and spend a lot on players, and it doesn't necessarily hurt you in the ultra long term if you do the contracts right. But this team isn't there yet. And people are saying Scott Harris. People are already ripping on Scott Harris, on Chris Ilitch, on this Tigers organization for not going and making a big splash free agent signing. And more specifically this weekend when Matt Chapman signed it's basically a one-year deal with the San Francisco Giants with 2 years of a player option after that. But it comes out annually to a pretty reasonable contract. It'd be, basically less than $20 million a year to solidify that third base spot. So he's going to be the third baseman for the Giants. People wanted him here in Detroit to be that everyday third baseman for this Tigers team. And while he would come in, he'd step in and probably be the best hitter on the team, and definitely the best infielder, the best defensive infielder. He's a 4-time Gold Glove winner at third base. This isn't the time for them to spend. I know you can. I know all this money came off the payroll with Miggy leaving. I know they're already well below the league average in terms of their salary cap, their payroll, but this isn't the year. This isn't the year. They not only want A.J. Hinch to be flexible with his lineup, with him creatively building this lineup, both on defense and on offense, platooning guys at third base, having not just one guy like J.D. Martinez come in and be an everyday designated hitter. They want to have the flexibility to play Andy Ibanez against left-handed hitters, to play Colt Keith sometimes at second base, sometimes at third base, sometimes against righties and lefties. They want Vierling and McKinstry. They want all these guys to not just develop, but also for them to make decisions on which one of these guys are going to be part of their long-term mix.
Yeah. So what you're saying is more of a mix of internal growth with the players that you've drafted over the years, with the players that you know are going to be here for the longevity, but as well as, look, we talked about this when the show started as well, the analytical side of it. When you have a Scott Harris, when you have a Jeff Greenberg, when you have an A.J. Hinch, sometimes the moves that these people make, you got to kind of trust it, especially if they don't believe that some of the people on the free agency market right now or that could be available to the Tigers are going to really be able to contribute to what this team wants to do long term. To take a page out of the Pistons, I know there were certain things that they did this past summer where they said, you know what, we don't necessarily want to block the ability to be able to see who Asar Thompson could be, who Jalen Duren can be, who Cade Cunningham could be, who Jaden Ivey could be. We saw that when the Pistons went out there and added just marginal veterans, it allowed Monty Williams to block, in my opinion, the path and the development of a Jaden Ivey. When you're looking at these Detroit Tigers, I do believe that we have to give Jeff Greenberg, Scott Harris, A.J. Hinch the time. Like, I get it. I know some of the, what people have been feeling about Chris Ilitch as an owner, but when you have kind of this battery within your front office and the management of talent, sometimes you got to kind of let that play itself out. When you talk about the analytics, when you talk about the numbers, when you talk about the versatility, and when you talk about the culture that you're trying to build, Sometimes it's not about going out there and getting that big splash. Usually when you're making a splash, especially with a young team like this, it's generally to a team that already has an identity. I don't know what the identity of this Detroit Tigers team is just yet. And when you bring in another player like that, are you starting this thing over just like you did with Javi Baez? Think about that. Think about that.
And you're so when you talk about the analytics and the matchups that they're trying to create and exploit, that's exactly what A.J. Hinch wants to do as a manager. That's exactly what Scott Harris and Jeff Friedman want to do as a front office. They're big analytics guy. Jeff Friedman was brought into the Chicago Blackhawks last year, the hockey team, to revamp their analytics department. He's been in baseball for the most of his career, but he's an analytics guy. He's a numbers guy, and that's what they want. They want batters. They want young batters to have a control of the strike zone. They want the lowest strikeout to walk ratio in the bigs. And as good as Matt Chapman's been in his career, and even coming in and being the best defender day one, stepping on the floor, stepping on the field, it doesn't match what they're trying to do. And then when you talk about taking at-bats away from a Cole Keith, I don't believe Jace Young's going to start at the bigs to open the day, but mid-season you're going to want to bring it up. This just leaves open flexibility. And, KG, I'm going to come to you in 1 second, but Chuck Brewer makes a good point. And I want to point out that those who want Chris Ilitch to spend, those who want Matt Chapman and Cody Bellinger, they're not wrong. Like I get it. They're players that would come in and would probably help the Tigers win a few more games this year, maybe even win the AL Central. But it's not going to help them long term. So Chuck Brewer says you're not wrong, but Chris has not shown anything to us that when it's time to spend that he will. He needs to make a statement to that effect. You're right. He hasn't shown it. To me, I'm glad he didn't spend with Al Avila running the show. You know, like we're get on it for not spending. When he has, they've been the wrong choices. It's been Javi Baez. It's been some pitcher, Jordan Zimmerman. It's been guys that really haven't helped this organization for the long term. We just keep getting stuck in these holes. So normally, yes, spend.
Fast forward.
Oh shoot.
Fast forward.
Let's
go.
With it. My last point, then I'll pass it to you guys. I might have even just forgot it. There will be a time to come where you got to open that checkbook.
Hey, look, before we kick it over to KG, man, Mike G, he wants to know, Broder, can they have you as hitting coach so you can work with Omago?
They got another MB from the University of Michigan. Michael Bedard is their hitting coach at the major league level. He's 30 years old. He's the youngest in the league. This is part of the redevelopment. It's part of why they drafted Max Clark over Wyatt Langford. And I know that's controversy too. They want from the bottom of the organization, from single A to the bigs, to have control of that strike zone, to have the lowest strikeout to walk ratio in the bigs. And that's what Michael Bedard and the hitting coaching team, there's like 3 hitting coaches, a whole minor league hitting coordinating system. So Michael Bedard, another MB from the University of Michigan. KG, I'm getting a little mean mug from you. I can't tell if you're on, if you agree with me.
I don't know. Has he get paid? Maybe he needs to get paid.
Nah, man. I'm just listening, man, taking it in. But shout out to Neil, man. He always says we haven't replaced Miggy's money yet. He's probably gonna say it again today. That's his big.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get me.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you're right, and also the fans are right too. Yes, you do want him to spend, but it's only year 2. And listen, guys, the Tigers aren't going to the World Series this year. So I can understand if they were really, really in contention, then you would, make a big fuss about this move. But he's already shown me that they can move in a certain direction. They did pick up Gio Urshela, and I do understand that he's on the surface not as good as Matt Chapman, but career better batting average, and he hits lefties a little bit at a better clip than Matt Chapman does. So, and this still allows you to utilize your young talent as well. So I think this can work just as constructed. They just need to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing about this team.
Yes. Yep. Spend next year.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? Take this season to really get a feel for who these young players are. Mm-hmm. Assess them and then understand exactly where you want to spend that money with the guys that you now have in this front office. I think that's the key thing you said. Did you really want to go and spend this thing based on the eye of Al Avila? Did you want to spend this thing based on the eye of an incomplete front office? Now you have a front office that's working together. Not just working together, but working with these young players from a numbers standpoint. That's much different than saying, all right, I'm going to bring the players in, and I'm just going to let A.J. Hinch go to work. That, to me, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. We've seen them spend some money over the years. It hasn't really worked. Now this team is taking a completely different approach as it relates to figuring out what they do have first, and then making sure that they go out there and they spend that money correctly. But
Yes.
I wanted to shout out the chat as well, man. I see our guy Giovanni in the chat. He was
Giovanni's in here.
Yeah.
Giovanni!
Yeah, shout out to you, man. He
Shout
was
out.
really, really cool, man. Really, really cool at Oakland this weekend. He is the host of WXOU Radio as well, and the sports director there.
And maybe on the way out of this break, JB, if you're able to play our intro video again for the game this weekend. But great shout out, Giovanni Mosheri, my guy.
And the rest of the chat family, because I realized, and it's been kind of bugging me since the show started, I didn't recognize you all. Thank you all for being here, chat family. You know, when we're out of studio, sometimes things get a little weird and a little wacky. But shout out to you guys. As always, you're a huge part of this show. It's been awesome getting out and about and meeting some of you all at some of these events. And we're going to get out to even more events. We look forward to being able to interact with you guys. We look forward to being able to feature you all as well. Continue to hit that like button for us, and let's keep that streak alive. Thank you, chat family, man.
Let's go. We are here at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi, Michigan's number one Chevy dealer. Let me tell you about one of our great sponsors, Dispo, and then we're going to come back. I want to ask you, how much money is too much money for Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Lions talk.
Crazy, crazy. So you can visit Dispo Dispensary today for exclusive new deals and experience a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere. They got fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. So save the date for 420 at Dispo Dispensary. Dispo's putting on epic events at all locations, so stay tuned for more details. That's Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
What up, though, baby? Hey, tell us about Oakland University Golden Grizzlies men's basketball team, man. What just went down here?
Oh, do you mean the regular season Horizon League champions?
Yes,
Is that what
sir.
you mean? Let's go! Horizon League champs, baby! Regular season! Let's go! It's tournament time! It's tournament time!
Horizon League regular season champion. By boy round.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Meet Big D Energy at the Meet Big D Energy at the Michigan Green Industry Association event with Alta Equipment. Neil Rule and Darren McCarty and myself will be live there Tuesday, March 5th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come by the Suburban Collection Showplace at 4600 Grand River Avenue in Novi. Say hi and talk Detroit sports with us, man. Featuring the latest products and technology and services from exhibitors, including lawn and landscape equipment, heavy-duty equipment, snow equipment, trucks, nursery stock, chemicals, hardscapes, irrigation, water features and lighting, supplies, business, and even a weed whipper, related equipment and services, and much more. The Michigan Industry Association event with Alta Equipment and Big D Energy. See you there.
May I have your attention, please?
Wait, why is it
May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and we are live at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. This is Michigan's #1 dealer, Chevy dealership. And look, we celebrated the championship this weekend, Oakland Golden Grizzlies basketball. Shout out to JB. We got to talk about his Michigan State Spartans hockey. They got a championship, and you can call Feldman Chevrolet of Novi the champion of Chevy dealers.
Champions of Chevy dealers, that's for sure.
Let's go. Hey, welcome back, chat family. Hit that like button if you haven't. If you have, then encourage your people in the chat to do the same. Share the stream, post the stream, get it on social media, anywhere you could post it. Let's get this chat blown up, man, definitely. And get your mailbag questions ready as well. I want to hear from you guys. If there's anything that we talk about today and you got a question about it, anything that just kind of, any statement that you want to even disagree with, get those things into the chat. JB and I and Broder and Cole will keep an eye on those things and make sure that we get to them by the end of the show as well. But you guys saw the intro there, the open there. Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown. And news kind of broke. It's been breaking almost like every few days about the Lions and Amon-Ra St. Brown inching closer and closer and closer to a contract extension for the Sun God, Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right.
And you know what? That makes me excited. Now, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about what the money is, what the numbers are, and those things, because I know there's some fans out there. I was actually a little bit shocked because, for me personally, I'm one of those blank check guys for Amon-Ra St. Brown because there's more than even just the numbers. His numbers make him an all-pro. His numbers say he's a top 5 wide receiver. His numbers say he's one of the best players in the NFC North. So, to me, sign that man. Even more so, though, for what Brad Holmes sees in players and what Brad Holmes is looking at even beyond the numbers. And that's this identity thing that we continue to talk about. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the identity of this Detroit Lions.
Yes.
He is one of those guys that you cannot – I don't want in any way, shape, or form for him to feel like he is underappreciated. And even more so, I remember that the fine that he got for the Chicago Bears game, man. I think he's going to have more than enough money because last year he said, yo, this is 5% of my salary. I am hurting, quote, unquote. I think with this new contract extension, you can tell the people about the numbers, he's not going to have any issue paying those fines next year.
Yeah, the reports, this is from Dave Burkett of the Free Press, earlier reports were that, he's in the $25 million range per year in negotiations for a contract. Dave Burkett wrote it might be a little bit more, 26 to 28. But for every reason you said, Kool-Aid, I'm with you. Normally I'd prefer to give $25, $30 million a year to the type of game changer like Chris Jones. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a different type of player. He's a game changer in his own way, but he's a team changer. Like everything he does as a 4th-round pick, as that underdog, hardworking mentality, that leader in the locker room, that's as important as any reason to get him paid on top of the production. You pay him, that sends a message to everybody else in that locker room, on the team, and everyone you draft. Yep. Say, this is the blueprint for how you get paid. And there are 14 receivers who are in the $20+ million a year range. Some even at 30. Tyreek Hill's at 30, coming up soon, any minute now. Jamar Chase is looking to get paid, and Justin Jefferson is looking to get paid. And those deals are going to start with the 3. It's going to be $30 million plus. So if you can get St. Brown for $28 million, go run.
Yeah, and you know what? To kind of add to that as well. Big Dan Davis said that Dave Burkett also said that the deal could be long-term, so it could be more than a 3-year extension. When you're talking about that type of money, when you look out 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now, if the deal is one of those long-term deals, this contract is going to start to actually favor the Detroit Lions more and more every single season that this goes, not just because of the dollar amount and where those values are going to be in the future, but also because of the type of worker that we know Amon-Ra St. Brown to be. And you dropped a bar there. I can't allow your heat to go unnoticed. He's not just a game changer. Amon-Ra St. Brown is also a team changer. Do you understand how important that is? this franchise, he's a franchise changer. He's one of those types of guys. When you're talking about Penei Sewell, when you're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're not just talking about their stats and the positions that they play. You're talking about who these guys are that lead the way for everybody else who comes here. I'm talking about even when you're talking about signing free agents. We're talking about with the Tigers, they need to establish an identity so that these free agents can come in and adopt. Well, you got those types of players here on the Detroit Lions already, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of those guys. Team changer, game changer, franchise changer. He's one of those guys that's not just working hard. We've seen hard workers, and they might not be as talented. I think sometimes when people are talking about this money, they're thinking about the Calvin Johnson style of wide receiver. That's what I really believe. When you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, this is a guy that every time they wanted to target him in a big moment, he came through for this squad. There were games where, you kind of go throughout the whole game. You're like, whoa, well, where was Amon-Ra St. Brown? You look at the stats, you're like 100-plus yards, 8, 9, 10 catches. That's who he is. He just does his work, whether it's flash and pizzazz or not. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of those guys that was absolutely crucial and critical for the Detroit Lions' success, not just this season, but even the turnover that we saw last year, man. Amon-Ra is that guy. KG.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, $26 to $28 million a year, man. Are you cool with that?
Absolutely. If he wants over 30, give it to him. Like, seriously, man. This guy, he's top 10 in pretty much all receiver categories, arguably top 5 in the league, man. And you got to pay him, man. He's been everything you've wanted him to be, and he embodies this Detroit team. This offense would not be the same without him. The real question is, how will they work the contract, especially if it's long-term? Will it be front-loaded? Will they back-load it? Just things to look out for. But absolutely, you pay this man whatever he wants.
Let me take this one step further, KG. And Ryan's reaction, he poses a point that I'm hearing more and more these days, that he's a slot receiver. Tyreek Hill is a wide out, a number 1. I view Amon-Ra St. Brown as a number 1. It just looks different. How do you feel about that statement, that concept, giving a slot receiver $30 million?
Maybe you could have said that his first year, but if you looked at his career in totality, he's absolutely a number 1 receiver. I don't agree with that. Maybe it's just the body type. People just mistake him for a slot receiver. He's not a traditional number 1, but he is a number 1, absolutely.
And that's what I was talking about as it relates to what people are generally used to when they think number 1. I think we got spoiled by who Calvin Johnson was at number 1. But when you look before that, we had receivers with similar body types that I'm not going to sit here and call number 1s at all. Some of our better receivers, when I looked at guys, even in the past, they're not as good, but when you look at it like a guy like a Johnny Morton, it's like I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown is like somebody like him, but he took it so much further.
Exactly.
It's almost like he built on this foundation. And when you look at the impact that he's able to make, these defenses were, as the season went on, I began to see Amon-Ra St. Brown make catches in double coverage. But from the slot receiver position. Usually you're going to see that with gunners and things like that. We're used to that with the Calvin Johnson effect. When the receiver is going down the field, he's going to draw extra attention. Amon-Ra St. Brown was drawing that extra attention 5 yards off the line, 10 yards off the line, 15 yards off the line, and still making the catches. And when you talk about the impact he's able to make with a quarterback like Jared Goff, who I believe is money on those types of 8, 9, 10, 12-yard passes, it's the perfect battery between wide receiver and quarterback. These guys fit together. They fit very, very well. And whoever's going to play quarterback after Jared Goff, if it's not a long-term deal for Jared, or if it is, I believe that if it's Hendon Hooker, he's getting this type of maturation and education right now in terms of just how valuable a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown can be. He's not your typical kind of slot receiver. He's not that typical guy. He's the guy that – have we seen anybody shut him down?
Nope.
No, the only people who shut him down is when, for whatever reason, the Detroit Lions decide – we're going to call some different plays in the third quarter of the NFC Championship game and just not target them. Terry Foster has said it all year. If you need a big play, shout out to the legend, if you need a big play, go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I didn't see him disappoint the Lions this season as it relates to that.
And think about if they move on from Goff, or if they have to work in another quarterback, that security blanket that's already built in with Amon-Ra, it's just that much. Him and Sam Laporta, just you walk into that situation, any quarterback starts with at least a little bit of an advantage. And Herb Nash in the chat here says, wide receiver, number 1, catch the ball, move the chains, yards after catch, and touchdowns. He does it all. I can't agree with that. Eduardo O'Neal follows up. So, KG, is Cooper Kupp a slot receiver?
He's kind of turned into one, but not exactly.
Yeah, like what? Who cares about the title?
Exactly. No, being a number one receiver is about production. It's not about appearance, And we've been trying to replace Amon-Ra pretty much since he's gotten here. It was a big thing about, we need a number one receiver. Oh, we need this, we need that. We brought J-Mo in thinking he would be the number one receiver. But it's been Amon-Ra the whole time. When the dust settles, he's the one here having an all-pro season,
Yep.
So,
oh, man.
Yep.
No, my bad.
No, I like that look in your eye, though.
No, because think about some of the catches we've seen Jameson Williams make this season.
Mm-hmm.
How many players were defending him? One.
Yeah.
Think about all of those touchdowns or the long passes that he had, or even the catch out on the outside. Why was he single covered? I wonder who was getting that attention. When you have a burner like Jameson Williams, when you go and you potentially add more wide receiver help this year, think about how much more open these players are and how much more single coverage these players got. I mean, you would think that a safety would at least be over the top for Jameson. We would see the safety kind of move around when Jameson would be in the game, but then all of a sudden, Amon-Ra St. Brown is double covered with safety kind of shadowing over the top of where he is, looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. Think about how open and the targets that it's going to affect for players like Jameson Williams, for some of the, like if they go out there and they get a rookie wide receiver, think about how much easier of a time it's going to be for them.
Like Adonai Mitchell.
To go out there and perform. This was the effect of Amon-Ra St. Brown that you probably generally don't see from that position. But that's why he's special and deserves a contract, like you said, KG. Pay that man whatever he wants.
And Ryan's reaction, you say an outside wide receiver that stretches the defense, not an inside slant receiver. Let's flip that. You want an outside wide receiver to open up the middle of the field for guys to make catches with. Why not flip that and say, hey, we're going to dominate the middle of the field and open up the outside for weapons like Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Khalif Raymond, whoever they draft this year. Don't count them out for drafting another wide receiver, even a running back in the 3rd or 4th round. They're going to dominate the middle of the field. They're going to do what they do well, especially with Jared Goff. Everyone says Jared Goff can't throw the deep ball. Why do we want this outside wide receiver that can stretch the defense? Let's make our strength stronger. Let's dominate the middle of the field and then let the weapons get the ball behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage and run with all of this space on the outside, because Amon-Ra St. Brown is a slant receiver or a slot receiver.
I don't buy that, though.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number one. He's a security blanket as well.
A Swiss Army knife.
A Swiss Army knife,
he can do it all. Like outside, people think outside receiver and think, he needs to go deep. He needs to be a deep threat, just run go routes all the time. That's not the case.
No.
His route tree is so open. He the way he destroys coverages is an absolute skill, man. And he's not a traditional number one, but he is absolutely a number one.
Yes, sir. And you know what? Big Dan Davis, he has this question. He said, so when Amon-Ra gets paid, who's next up for an extension? I think Sewell is eligible for an extension. I want to talk about that in the next segment as well.
Okay.
If you're cool with that, man, because obviously it's not just about what Amon-Ra St. Brown gets. It's about what happens after that as well and how it influences everything else that the Detroit Lions are going to do. But like we said, number one wide receiver, Swiss Army knife, security blanket. You know what else? It's
security.
Yeah, you see that. Guardian Alarm, man. Customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. It's technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. All you have to do is call this number right above my head, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that is 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Big Boy Seafood Fest is sailing in with a fresh catch of favorites. Dive into fish and chips, our new palm-crusted cod, perfectly fried clam shrimp platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. Try our new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to our popcorn shrimp, our all-new fried pickles, shrimp alfredo, or shrimp stir-fry. Experience all the sea has to offer every Friday night with our all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Every day is a fish fry, only at Big Boy.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
I said, let me get to the read.
Can't even do it.
Meats.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Y'all are crazy. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks. As Ryan would say, it's delicious. Or order online at fairwaypacking.com. What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward, live at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. It is Michigan's #1 Chevy dealership, man, the champion of dealers, man. We're still celebrating our Golden Grizzlies championship.
Let's go.
Hey, in Michigan State Hockey Championship, shout out to JB. We gotta give them their due as well. Chat family, thank you guys for being tuned in today. Hit that like button if you haven't. If you have, encourage other people to do the same. Continue to share the stream, post the stream. Get it out there on social media, wherever you can, so we can really make this one of the best environments in sports and really just media, period, man, because you guys are always going to serve a big part of what we do. And that's why I love getting out and about at some of these events as well. I can't wait. March 17th, we're going to be at the Pistons game where they're honoring the 2004 Detroit Pistons, and I want to be able to, I know we all do, we want to be able to interact with you, get you all's kind of take on any memory you have of the 2004 Pistons and what you believe that this current Pistons team should do to get back to its roots. But we got to get back to the team that we believe is closest to winning a pro championship, and that is the Detroit Lions, who have Super Bowl aspirations. And one of those players that they're talking about locking up long-term as it relates to kind of building this longevity of success is Amon-Ra St. But it brings up other questions. When you lock down on Amon-Ra St. where else do the Lions go from here as it relates to the draft, free agency, and also bringing back some of these other players? The Detroit Lions, they want to be able to, and they've said this from the podiums, from different press conferences, they want to make sure that they pay their guys because they know their guys. They're not going out there and just making picks that they think may or may not pan. Hey, there's a chance that this will work out. No, they're going out there and they're getting guys that they know will contribute, and they've put them in the starting positions right away. Even with their last rookie class of Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, they're going out there and getting difference makers at the tops of these drafts. And it starts to put us in a position now that they have some talent on this roster, that they've drafted. They have some talent on this roster they've signed as well. Where do they go from here to make sure they can maximize their Super Bowl window? And Big Dan Davis was talking about where do they go as it relates to the next player that's going to be re-upped as well. He mentioned Penei Sewell. And one of my questions is, how does this influence the draft?
I think with Penei Sewell, the extensions, I don't think impact the draft at all. And I got to put some more. That's a great question. I got to put some more thought just from the financial standpoint, but I don't think from a strategy standpoint it affects them at all. I think Brad Holmes has already talked about going after best player available with that #1 pick at 29. Obviously, they have their guys who they target, and the concept of need versus best player available is starting to get blurry with Brad Holmes and the Lions, but I do believe that's where they go. They have needs on defense, cornerback, defensive tackle, edge rusher. You want to make your offensive line stronger. Maybe that's in play at 29. My gut's telling me they're going to have their select few guys that they have to have in the first round. If they're still on the board at 20, they might move up a couple spots and get them, whether that's Quinyon Mitchell, whether that's Nate Wiggins falling because of his injury, but he had the fastest 40 time as a cornerback.
Kool-Aid might fall as well.
Kool-Aid might fall, and he's got a broken foot, and that's totally a Brad Holmes guy starting with an injury. No, but it's hard to tell at 29. We're not used to being in this position before. Hard to tell what the draft board's going to look like. The quarterback's going off the board. That's going to tell a lot about what positions fall. Are there going to be 4 going in the first round? Are there going to be 5? Yeah. Does JJ go in the top 10 or the top 6 like people are talking about? Or does that move back to Vikings at 11, Broncos at 12? We've seen a couple mock drafts where Penix goes at 12 or Bo Nix goes at 12. Penix goes in the teens too. So it all depends on how these things fall. There's also a ton of offensive linemen, so maybe there's a run on tackles. All of that is going to lead to something being available at 29. KG, what are you thinking?
Do you think receiver is in play at 29?
Yeah, I do. I do, especially if their guy isn't available. I see Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and either AG or Ben Johnson really falling in love with some guy that is going to be available in the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th round at a position of need. So I think if, Keon Coleman got mixed results. I know, was it Doc Macaroon in the chat had picked Keon Coleman and his mock draft at 29. I'm a big fan of Adonai Mitchell. After watching the combine, he's produced both LSU and Texas as a 5th-year senior. I love Adonai Mitchell, but I think my new draft crush, and I knew he was going to be productive.
Tell me about it.
It's Ladd McConkey.
Man.
And this is the effect Amon-Ra St. Brown has, not just on the Detroit Lions, but I don't think we're talking about Ladd McConkey or Roman Wilson as high up in the draft, if not for Amon-Ra St. Brown doing what he's done in a Lions uniform these last couple of years. And I know you might say they're similar play. Ladd McConkey isn't that, big outside deep threat, but, man, you add another guy like that, a fantastic route runner. He's got speed, too. Ran a 4.39.
Yeah.
Man, we have some videos. I don't know if we're going to play him today or tomorrow, but wide receivers definitely in play. Long story short, wide receivers definitely in play.
Yep, and just kind of looking at some of the chat here, the real K. Collins said, I'm for Chop. We know that some of the mock drafts we saw have him falling just above where the Detroit Lions pick, man. Brian Ruth, I want Leggett or Thomas from LSU.
I like Leggett.
Yeah, Mason Smith from LSU is my only pick. That's Ryan's reaction. And what we're seeing right now, as it relates to some of these mock drafts, is that this draft seems like it's going to get a little bit more richer at that number 29 pick for the Detroit Lions, as you have some of these players that are rising in stock because of their combine results, and a lot of the quarterbacks that a lot of us initially – I don't know. I know Ryan Armani has been on this, hey, J.J. McCarthy is going to be a first-round pick, and he's going to be a top 10 pick. Now, when you have 4 or 5 quarterbacks that can go in the first 12 picks, now we're seeing certain players that we didn't think we would even have our opportunity to be able to select falling down to the Detroit Lions. I know the Sports Illustrated mock draft has them selecting Latu as an edge.
A week ago, people think you're crazy for thinking he's going to fall to 29.
Yeah. I mean, even Nate Wiggins going to the Packers, it's like, I don't even know if I want that to happen at all, man.
Boy, that would be scary.
That would be scary.
And you think with the depth in this draft, it's a very deep offensive line draft. I think it's a very deep secondary draft, maybe a little top-heavy. You got some studs at the top, and then it's more round 3 and beyond. You got really adequate cornerbacks. I love Dwight Nudie McGlothern. I love Chris, the Missouri cornerback, not Ennis Rakestraw, Chris Abrams-Drain. There's a lot of guys at the cornerback position I'd be cool with in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. So it all depends. Brad Holmes going to hone in on one of their guys. But you're right. From Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Penei Sewell perspective, signing these guys, some decisions need to be made because there's this new, we got, $30 million more in salary cap than was expected. So I think a lot of people are out there saying, let's re-sign them all. Let's get this done early. Let's sign our guys. You do that with some of these monster contracts, whether it's quarterback, Jared Goff, Penei Sewell at tackle, Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver. To do it most effectively, those are some big signing bonuses. And what do you have to do with signing bonuses? That gets paid up front.
Yep. Yeah.
So Sheila Hamp-Ford and the Detroit Lions, they got to have $150, $250 million cash on hand. That's easier said than done.
She got it, though.
Whether you got it,
let's not get it messed up.
Whether you got it or not is a different story. Whether it's available, whether they have it in cash, that's a lot of money.
It is.
That's not normally the amount of cash that a football team has on hand just sitting around. It's invested. It's in other areas. So there's a lot of cash to do that up front if you're talking about giving guys $40, $50 million or more signing bonuses.
And you know what? With the rise in the cap space, with who Brad Holmes has shown himself to be in the draft, before the rise in cap space, my question was, do they go out there and they make their offensive side of the ball that much more elite, which we've seen them do? They've said, hey, We're elite here. Let's go and add more talent to the offensive line. Let's go and add more talent to the offensive side of the ball. They went and got Sam Laporta. They went out there, got Jahmyr Gibbs. They made some signings along the offensive line. This year, I was wondering, okay, is it now their time to focus on making the defensive side of the ball take that much closer a step to being elite? With the rise in the cap space and what Brad Holmes has been known to do, I think they can actually focus on both. Going and bolstering this offensive unit as well as taking a step forward, a big step forward with the defense, because I don't think that they're that far away. They have some playmakers on this squad. I do believe that Jack Campbell is going to take another step forward. I really do. I think that he's going to have a breakout season for the Detroit Lions. I do believe that Aiden Hutchinson is going to take another step forward, which is scary to think about because he was already one of your tops as it relates to pressures in the NFL. And I do believe that whatever they do to kind of beef up this defensive line, because this draft is going to be deep, as well as I know we got to talk about some free agent possibilities for the Detroit Lions as well. They're going to have the opportunity to definitely bolster things. When you're talking about cornerbacks, when you're talking about defensive line, I do believe that Brad Holmes is going to have the opportunity to identify one of those types of playmakers, and we've already seen him do this. We've seen him do this. The Brian Branch pick, you know, when you're talking about Brad Holmes going into this draft, it's just like I'm going to continue to say this. I'm comfortable, bro. I'm out on my floaty, my full-size floaty, just in the pool, just like, man. I'm out in Santa Clara. I'm out there out in California with Jared Goff right now. I'm just chilling out on his pool, looking at all the, hey, you and J-Mo, yeah, go out there and get locked in the football field, develop that trust and relationship. I know Brad Holmes got this, man. I got the drink over here. I got the side dish over here because Brad Holmes is going to cook, and I'm comfortable with what he's going to do. It's like, what a gift. When you talk about a Super Bowl window, what a gift to be able to have a GM like Brad Holmes.
Facts.
And to be able to have this type of cap space. Before we were wondering, can we keep all of our players? Can we re-sign these guys? Can we re-sign these guys and go out there and make a splash in free agency? If they want to, they can. But my question is, does Brad Holmes even have to make that splash?
No.
He's drafting impact players who are making differences year one, who are turning into all pros by year 2 and year 3. Yeah. I've never seen this, man, from the Detroit Lions.
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
It's not.
Especially
It's an outlier.
Picking where he's picking. Like, I remember that draft. We were all at Fifth Avenue. We had people that walked off the set. We had people that were like, what was going on? Terry Foster, he was like, I don't know what he's doing. I think Darren McCarty was the most excited because he's one of those guys that's just like, look, trust Steve Eisman, trust Brad Holmes. He believes that those GMs, whatever they do, that they don't really deserve criticism. You're not going to be 100 for 100. You're just not. But as it relates to what these guys have done in the foundations they've built, man, I am at ease and at comfort with whatever the Detroit Lions choose to do. And I do believe they're going to have the opportunity to bolster the offense and take a step forward with the defense this year.
Yeah,
a big step forward.
I actually think while you were talking, I was thinking about it, and there's probably more of a chance that they go offense early. Because I believe they're going to pay – they're going to pay a free agent defender. Like whatever big money means this offseason, I don't think it's going to be a star. I don't think it's going to be Chris Jones or L'Jarius Sneed, who's being talked about in the trade market. But I think the money, any money from the outside is going to go to the defense. Because when you think about on offense, any impact player is going to cost a ton. Like, you want to get Mike Evans, it's going to cost as much as it'll cost Amon-Ra, maybe a tiny bit less. But on defense, you're going to draft on offense, draft offensive linemen. It's a deep draft. Still draft some defensive studs, but then pay your one impact player on defense. I know you got something to say about that, KG.
I do. I like that strategy.
No, I wanted to ask y'all something. So, and excuse me if you got this later in the show sheet, but I forgot the ESPN reporter's name, but there is word out of Indy that the Lions are trying to get a high-end corner. So, and they linked it to L'Jarius Sneed. You know, do you think he's in play, like actually in play?
I think he's definitely in play. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's too expensive. I think it's too expensive. Actually, let me restate this. I don't think it's too expensive in terms of being able to pull it off and still, being under the cap, still being able to address the rest of the offseason. But I think it's too expensive for what they want to continue building and what they want to still have available because it will also cost draft capital.
So if the word out of Indy is that they want a high-end corner, what do you define as a high-end corner? Could it be moving up in the draft to go get a guy? Could it be trying to sign somebody off free agency? What do you think that looks like?
It's funny because really L'Jarius Sneed is it. Like he's the highest end corner in free agency. The rest of the guys don't blow me away in terms of wanting to give him a huge contract. I believe they're gonna find, like they did last year with Emmanuel Mosley, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Deuce. They're gonna plug some holes in the short term with 1 year, maybe 2 year contracts, a veteran to come in and help mentor someone they find in the draft. So the future could be a cornerback in the first round of this draft. Maybe it is Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold that you go up and get. Again, it's hard to find that lockdown corner in the NFL draft. It doesn't, although it's happened more recently. We've seen Sauce Gardner do it. It's not easy. It's not easy to be a cornerback, come right in and be that type of lockdown corner. So it's going to be a mix of everything. I don't think they put that much investment into L'Jarius Sneed.
And it's not easy to come in, to step in right away and be that lockdown corner. But with where the Detroit Lions defense is, I do believe they're helped. If they get a little bit more on that defensive line, I do believe if you get a cornerback or two in the draft, I do think that they're in a better position to succeed year one than maybe where even Brian Branch was a year ago. You're talking about adding a little bit more to this defense, and it does. It's a testament continuously to what Brad Holmes has continued to do to kind of beef up this Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Big Dan Davis says I'd be good if they signed a Chidobe Awuzie or an Adoree Jackson. Those guys shouldn't cost a lot. You're right.
Yeah.
Those might be your 1 year deals for a couple $1 million that you do. Maybe you also bring C.J. Gardner-Johnson back for another year.
Let me just clap it up for Brad Holmes real quick, man.
The fact that we have him making these decisions. And you talked about Brian Branch. There's a guy out of Michigan who I think might be the Brian Branch of this year's draft. He showed out at the Combine. He's one of your favorites. We're going to talk about some of those prospects when we get back. But first, I believe I'm going to tell you about Big Boy. Because Seafood Fest is back at Big Boy. Catch it while you can. Dive into the fish and chips and their new Parmesan encrusted cod, perfectly fried clam strip platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. A Big Boy must try the new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to their popcorn shrimp, shrimp Alfredo, or stir fry. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy. And don't forget, every Friday night, the all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Check it out at Big Boy.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy. You're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Football season's officially over and spring training is here. However, Jack Labrador is here 24/7, 365 days a year. You can learn how to play right now on your phone at jacklabrador.gg. They got 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. And remember, once you go Jack, you never go back. So check them out at jacklabrador.gg.
What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward live at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. It's Michigan's #1 Chevy dealership, the champion of dealerships out here, man. And we're still celebrating Oakland University Golden Grizzlies men's basketball team. Shout out to the legendary Greg Campy, head coach, Rocket Watts, man.
Nicest guy ever.
Nicest person ever, yeah. And you know, he was dealing, Rocket Watts was dealing with something personal. We were wondering, why aren't we seeing him in the game? And afterwards, we kind of heard some things. And I think we're going to try and get him on a later show to be able to kind of just talk about his experience this season.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That was his request. He was like, hey, man, like, I'd love to come on your guys' show.
That was dope. That was dope. I
My guy.
was like, hey, well, we would love to have you on the show, Rocket.
Yeah.
So shout out to him, man, and shout out to Michigan State hockey as well. We gotta mention them for their championship. JB over there shaking his head. But welcome back, chat family, man. As always, you guys are a big part of this show, and we love the interaction, man. The chat is live today. Thank you guys a lot. Continue to hit that like button if you haven't. If you have, then continue to encourage other people to do so and share this stream. And get your comments in, man. JB Smooth, even if we're on the road, you guys see right there, he's still able to feature you guys and your comments on this screen. But where are we going next?
We're going to talk about that combine. The NFL combine is done. Thursday through Friday, we got to see Thursday through Sunday, we got to see all the interviews, we got to see all the measurements, all the drills that these players did on the floor. And again, we preface this with Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell. The most important thing to them are the closed-door interviews behind the scenes so they can really get to know these young men, see how the tape matches up with what they're going to be able to provide off the field. But we also got to see some incredible showings of athleticism. We're talking Xavier Worthy, wide receiver out of Texas, broken the all-time combine 40-yard dash record.
4.21, right?
4.21.
Ridiculous. Faster and faster.
It's incredible. Like he's a little dude, not a very big guy. But you see all the clips. Normally, the players running are like right in the middle of the screen the whole time, regardless of how fast they are. Yeah. Xavier Worthy's like almost running out of the screen.
Real quick, breaking news. The Buccaneers and 5-time Pro Bowler Mike Evans have reached an agreement on a 2-year, $52 million deal that includes $35 million guaranteed per, Derek Gilmore, or per his agent. So, yeah.
So Mike Evans signs with the Buccaneers 2 years, $52 million.
It's a lot of money.
35 of which are guaranteed or 35 guaranteed on top of that.
26 a year.
It's a lot of money.
That now we know the floor of the Amon-Ra St. Brown contract.
So I was like, man.
26 it is.
Yeah.
26 is. Wow. Well, so.
That 26 to 28 might be a lot more true than than the reports initially.
Wow. That is breaking.
That is
breaking. So you got to expect they're probably going to re-sign Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Evans isn't re-signing without a quarterback in place.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is. And you know what? The more this NFC in total stays the same, the more that I like the chances for the Detroit Lions next season. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. They got a little bit of confidence, especially when you beat a team in the playoffs. They're going to have confidence this year ahead, especially with what Brad Holmes is going to do.
Yes. So, hey.
Thank you for that.
We'll see. Wide receiver, another big-ticket wide receiver off the market. The free agent class for wide receivers isn't so sexy to me. Isn't it something for the Lions to go out and – find some perfect fit, a veteran with a perfect fit. I think Josh Reynolds or DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, are the type of free agent that they would look at. So I believe that they're going to retain one of those, give one of those a new contract, one of those wide receivers, or what we saw at the Combine yesterday, go after one of these young wide receivers. And I'll say it again, Ladd McConkey and Adonai Mitchell, they're the two guys who I'm coming away from this Combine saying those two should be a Lion. Those two I would be happy with if they ended up a Lion at pick 29.
Yeah.
Depending on how the draft falls, I want Ladd McConkey or I want Adonai Mitchell. Was there anything let's keep talking about the Combine. Anything else that stuck out to you, whether it's a player fit for the Lions or just something you saw there, another Xavier Worthy type drill?
It was crazy to see just kind of the speed numbers from Nate Wiggins, and as a cornerback, and I know that we've talked about him on this show. And if he got close to the Detroit Lions, is he one of those players that you go up into the draft and say, you know what, we got to snag him? I thought he was going to go a little bit higher than where some of these mock drafts have him now, especially with his combine numbers. But obviously, there's some things to like and some things to dislike. But I don't know the possibilities of it, but I like Mike Sanders still, man. I just do. I like a lot of the Michigan guys, and there's been a lot of talk about how prepared they've been, how kind of ahead of the curve they've been, how just kind of they already knew the ins and outs of certain aspects and like the NFL life. Hearing things about Chris Jenkins, hearing things about J.J. McCarthy, hearing things about Mike Sanders still, and I kind of just went and Mike Sanders still, shout out to him and his YouTube channel. He's been kind of just documenting certain things in this process, and he talked about the fact that national championship was probably his number 2 overall best experience on this season, on this year. You know what number 1 is for him? Him and his girl are expecting her in their second trimester.
Oh, come on.
He is on a high right now, an absolute high. congratulations as well to you and your girlfriend, man. And we blessings. As a father of a newborn now and my 4th kid, you're going to enjoy the experience. He also got a new dog. He named it Zero.
Nice.
And just listening to him talk, when you talk about that interview of things, kind of seeing what he did at the Combine, when you hear the news of him shooting up draft boards now, it's just like Mike Sanderstill. This is a guy that we went to the watch parties all year. KG was there, Broder was there. JB, did you ever show up to any of those Michigan ones? No. It was like he was one of those players that we all were like, yo, I would love to have him on the Detroit Lions. And I asked you, man, like, yo, the room for Mike Sanders still out there?
What'd I tell you?
You said there's definitely a room for a player like him.
Yes.
Even if the position is one that can be stocked in. You know what? Brad Holmes talked about it. He said, yeah, we're going to have needs, but sometimes you got to go a best player available when you're talking about certain types of players.
Yeah.
And I do believe that a guy like him or a guy like Chris Jenkins, those are some of those. I know that's your guy.
Dirty to me.
I know that's your
I
guy.
would love to have Chris Jenkins here.
Man.
He might be available at 61.
He might be.
But real quick on the Sanderstill topic,
Don't give me hope.
The room, they don't really need him. You know, he's a slot cornerback. He's not going to play on the outside. He's not necessarily big enough to lock down number 1 wide receivers. And I say number 1, traditional number 1 wide,
right.
Not Amon-Ra St. Brown type wide receivers, but the big outside deep threats. But he's a winning football player. There is always room for someone like Mikey Sanderstill. Having him and Brian Branch on the same defense, come on.
It'd be nice.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I wanted to highlight them just because, you know, they're right in our backyard. They're Michigan men. You know, we like Michigan football, and it's like, you know what, to see where these guys are and to see how they're shooting up the draft charts, it's like you exactly see now why they won the national championship. The professionality they bring, the kind of ideology that they have, and that's where I'm like, you know what, I know that Chris Jenkins is even a player that's at a position of need for the Detroit Lions. It's like if you can get one of those guys from that Michigan defense, who we sat and we saw them play Penix in Washington, and we said, yo, these guys are playing NFL schemes already, and they're fast to the ball. They made sure that Washington walked out of that arena limping. We talked about this, man, that everything that they did early on that looked to be of a precision standpoint for Washington's offense, by the end of that game, they were just slightly off. And that's the type of stuff that we saw when the Detroit Lions were rolling. They did the same thing, too. They punished Matthew Stafford. And Mike Sanders, as it relates to that Michigan defense against a guy that a lot of people think in Penix is obviously one of the best players in all of college football. The wide receiver, why is his name slipping me, man? The Washington wide receiver.
Romeo
Duzay.
Yep. When you saw how this team kind of put those guys in a box and said this national championship is ours, that type of stuff, especially when you're talking about your Super Bowl window, you kind of want players who understand what it means to go out there and win a championship and knows what it takes from a work standpoint and from an effort standpoint to get that done. And they're already kind of schemed up for it, man. That, to me, wherever Mike Sanders still goes, I know he's going to have success.
Yes.
I know it.
KG, how are you feeling about this combine? See anyone that stood out to you, or and this is totally fine. Do you just tune out of the combine because it really doesn't matter to this Lions team?
I've saw some clips, but, I mean, the combine is what it is. You know, it's pretty much just workouts. But I will point out, if I'm butchering his name, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Talase Fagua.
Oh, from Oklahoma State, Oregon State.
He's a beast, man, absolute beast. I think he plays at the tackle position. I know we need offensive line help. We don't necessarily need a tackle, but
I think he can be moved to the inside. I mean, especially with the athleticism.
Yeah.
They're talking about him being one of those guys that can play tackle or guard.
Yeah, and he has that kind of motor that just exhibits like what Dan Campbell wants in a football player, man. So I really liked his tape. But, yeah, man, I mean, and shout out to Jesse Minter for getting these Michigan guys ready with those NFL schemes. You know, him coming from Baltimore, he was able to help a lot of those young players out. I would love to have a Mikey Sanders still in this locker room. Now, to me, the Lions, they need more than one corner. So if you were to draft him for a depth piece, I don't see the risk in that. You know, I don't know what they're going to do with Jerry Jacobs and the rest of their rival. Yeah, the rest of their corner depth looks kind of murky. So I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah. What do you think, man? This Jerry Jacobs part of things?
I think we're going to learn once free agency opens up where they stand on Jerry Jacobs. I fully expect them to bring him back as your number 3 or number 4 cornerback. It's going to be a short-term deal, may even be a practice spot to start, but if Jerry Jacobs is comfortable taking that role again. But I do believe they're bringing him back. He's a line. He's been part of this rebuild. He's a guy, especially if you can get him for cheap. I believe they like him.
Yep, and I do. Like, seeing Mikey Sanders still throughout the season, it's like, okay, we know that guy can play. But seeing him at the Combine, kind of seeing him speak a little bit more on his channel and such, and kind of just vlogging this whole entire experience, and hearing him talk at the Combine, his press conferences, I agree with you, KG. I want those types of players in this Detroit Lions locker room.
Yes,
absolutely.
I got a couple more guys I want to tell you. I don't know if they're sleepers, but some players that stood out to me at the Combine, going a little bit more depth, just to give you some guys to go do a little bit more research on. But when we come back, that's when we're going to talk about it. Kool-Aid, can you tell us about Swiss Insurance as the Lions are trying to fill some holes? Swiss cheese has holes in them.
Look, man, I got good news, I got bad news, and I got more good news. The good news is, chat family, y'all are on one, man. As always, really the best part of our show, man. Thank you all for supporting. Continue to hit that like button. The bad news, I got to tell you about this bad news too. Insurance rates are on the rise. Surprise. But the good news, I got more good news, y'all. Got more good news. Swiss Insurance is here to help you. Definitely get in touch with them today to get your insurance reviewed. You can contact them at swissins.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party, it's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Hey, man, let's update that wardrobe, man. I know y'all still got that NFC Central shirt, and it's crusty, it's dirty, it's done seen some wars, man. But the Lions are a winning team now, so you need to get you some winning apparel. And what better place than WoodwardSports.com, man? We got hoodies, hats, tees, beanies, everything you could possibly need for all your Detroit sports needs. So check out the latest designs today at WoodwardSports.com and click the shop tab.
Oh, Detroit, welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. Thank you all for starting your day off with the crew as well. Go ahead and hit that like button to support. We appreciate you, chat family. We are live at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. It is Michigan's #1 Chevy dealership. And you guys see, we got Broder's car over here.
Yeah, I just parked it here this morning. Well, you got a nice car wash. Gonna park it right here behind us. Driving off the lot right after the show.
Yeah, and I know we're gonna get into more of this Combine talk, more of this Lions talk. But I wanted to ask you guys in chat family. I need you to put as well in the chat, and maybe we'll talk about it during this segment as well as during mailbag. What is your position of need? What do you believe? What's your position of need with this first round? Maybe even with this second round, Broder. You guys got to help me out here, because I'm like, yo, do the Detroit Lions go and bolster their offense and make it that much more elite, or do they go and they bolster their defense to try and help it take the step forward? I know that you had an interesting take as it relates to the position that they should go after.
Yeah, well, with the consideration of staying at 29,
yeah,
And no one knows how the draft's going to play out. Right. I'm cool addressing your offense, not addressing, adding to your offense, whether that's offensive lineman or receiver. Those are the two positions. I'm like, if you have some stud there, like a Jackson Powers Johnson, maybe and I'm going to butcher his name too, a Troy Fatanu, the tackle/guard out of Washington, or even maybe it's a Zach Frazier, a Graham Barton. If you have an offensive lineman or receiver there at 29, I say pull the trigger. I say you might have a defensive player you want to trade up for. Like if they want to go up and get Dallas Turner out of Alabama, Jared Verse out of Florida State, Terry Arnold out of Alabama, I'm totally cool with that. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think those guys are going to be available at 29. So I say go BPA, best position available. What?
KG, before I let you answer, bro, the chat is on one right now.
What?
Man. I guess I got to say pause for position of need because they're putting a lot more positions in the chat than what you would find on a football field.
Oh, God.
As always, the chat is on.
Want some dogs. Defense can be dog.
Smash the like button for yourselves right now, chat family.
Aaron Glenn runs a very missionary style defense. And sometimes if you're playing down in Dallas, you play the Cowgirls, you might just need to reverse the curse, reverse it, and make some W's happen, you know?
I do not want to reverse cowboy position.
We are in public, so that's probably about as far as we're going to take this little but you guys know where we're getting at.
KG.
Did you just say dog? D-A-W-G.
How do I even follow that up? Like,
you don't.
This dude is on one right now.
Oh, my goodness, man. Listen, I'm against the receiver pick at 29. And I want to preference this by saying
why?
I don't think Brad Holmes is staying at 29. Whether that's moving back or going up, I don't think he's going to be at 29. But the needs on defense far outweigh any offensive needs we have, and that's including offensive line. Now, if they get an offensive lineman, I'm not mad at that. But to me, if you're going to go offensive lineman, you need to get the best one in the draft. Otherwise, you can just wait. There's plenty of offensive line depth in the second and third rounds that you can get. That's just my strategy. To me, it has to be a corner, it has to be interior D-line, or it has to be an edge. Please move this defense forward. I know he likes to use the draft for talent purposes and free agency to fill needs, but in this case, like I said, there's just too many dire needs on defense. The offense is going to be okay regardless. Yes, you do want to add to that. You want to add a receiver, but you don't need the best, flashiest receiver. They really only need a wide receiver 3, especially if you want to push J-Mo going forward. So, to me, it's got to be defense.
I'm sorry, dog.
Y'all know you good. I already know they fooling over there.
Dan Wood said Kool-Aid knows what it's like to be married. Position of need is real. David E. Walker said, "Hey, yo." Oh, my gosh. And you know what? You know what? This one, shout out to Dad with Tourette's. He said, guys, there are people trying to purchase a car behind you.
Right.
Be professional.
Vroom, vroom.
You got to talk to Fast Forward over here.
I'm getting the looks. Man. No, but okay, I'm with you, Cage. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense needs to be that is priority numero uno in this draft.
Yeah.
But if that guy you aren't in love with isn't there and you're not able to move back, get two second rounds or another second and third, which I'd be totally fine with.
Yeah.
I say go get someone like Adonai Mitchell or Ladd McConkey. And I believe, JB, you got the Adonai Mitchell simulcam video we can put up?
Yeah, because, the more and more that I kind of look at this thing, the more and more the ideas does start to creep into the mind of, do you draft back and pick up more capital in a draft that's kind of deep at your position?
Yeah. Well,
your football positions of need.
Okay, so check this out. This is Adonai Mitchell yesterday. Actually, it was Saturday at the Combine. Going up against A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. This is a simulcam, which I think is one of the coolest things they've had at the Combine. Just seeing the difference. This guy is 6'2", 205 pounds.
4'3".
4'3", 440. He had a 39.5-inch vertical jump, 11.4 broad jump, which is the best in the wide receiver group. And despite great numbers, he looked even better in the on-field drills. He's a true X-wide receiver. He plays with leverage on tape. And guess what? Since 2015, there have only been 2 wide receivers to run a 4.35 or faster that are 6'2 or taller and weigh 205 or bigger. You know who those 2 are?
Ooh.
Adonai Mitchell and DK Metcalf.
I was just about to say DK.
Yeah,
Hey, can you
he's
play
a freak.
that one more time, JB? Because you know what I noticed? Look how effortless it is. Look how effortless he makes it look. The other guys look like they're literally out there to try and break the tape before others. It looks like he might even have another gear to go.
Yeah, he won the 10-yard split, which you want to see an explosive wide receiver off the line of scrimmage, and pulled away once he got his long strides extended, able to pull away from those other wide receivers.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I like Adonai a lot. The only thing that concerns me, he did have some drops in his catching drills.
True.
So that's the only thing I'm maybe kind of concerned with. It could just be, just part of the workout, just could have made a mistake. But I don't know, man. But I think he'll be gone. I don't think he'll fall to 29. That's just my personal opinion. But he's a really good talent.
He might be. And if you're worried about catches, if you're worried about hands, JB led McConkey in the gauntlet drill. Not only did he blow people away, he surprised me with the 4.39 40. Yeah. He's only 6 foot, 186, but he can play on the outside. And you look at this route running. When we see this gauntlet drill, look at how smooth he is, not just running, but catching the ball. He just snags it out of the air. And if we had the angle where you're seeing him run at the camera, he's directly on that line. He very rarely steers off of that straight line. That's sort of the point of the drill, seeing how cleanly, how smooth the wide receivers can stay running straight on that line, running at full speed, and catching the ball from different angles. He does it with precision. You pair this with the 4.39 40, he's a great yards after catch receiver. Elite balance and field awareness. He's
definitely strong hands.
Cerebrally, he's a Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell guy, and he's you put him out there. Put him out there with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta and these weapons on the outside. Man, who do you cover? It's a first down machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. When you're talking about adding a wide receiver in this draft, I don't think that you have to have that kind of free agent splash, that free agent stud, or even that underrated free agent signing, because I think that they're going to get a little bit of attention. How do you not, as a defense, pay your attention to Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown? How do you not pay your attention to a Khalif Raymond or even J-Mo, who's supposed to be taking a little bit of a step forward in this next season? When you're talking about adding another wide receiver who has sure hands, runs routes very, very well, it's almost like, you know what? That guy's going to have an easier time to be able to go out there and make the plays. Is that Malcolm Rodriguez?
Oh,
what's good?
Malcolm Rodriguez, what up? Rodrigo.
Hey.
Dog, that's
Malcolm Rodriguez.
Rodrigo in the spot, man.
This might have been where the heavies met him a year or two ago after he was drafted.
Yeah.
Legendary Lions linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, linebacker / fullback / all you can do.
Mr. Versatile.
Mr. Versatile.
Yeah.
Mr. Versatile.
Just to do whatever it takes, man. Those are the types of players that I'm grateful that Brad Holmes drafts, because we've seen this now kind of all over, even when you talk about Jalen Reeves-Maybin and some of the other players they have on the squad. And that's what, when we heard what Chris Jenkins and a couple other players at the Combine talk about, look, I'm willing to go there and do whatever it takes. And I'm putting go there to the Lions because a lot of people believe that some of these Michigan guys and some of these other players were making a pitch to the Detroit Lions.
It sure sounded like it.
Yeah.
It sure sounded like it. There's a handful of guys, and you could go up and get your Terrion Arnolds, your Quinyon Mitchells. At the cornerback position, I really like Max Melton out of Rutgers, seeing what he did at the Combine. I also really like Cam Hart out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, he was nice.
I didn't realize how big he was, 6'3", 202. And you know what? He said in one of his press conferences, being named a captain at Notre Dame was his biggest accomplishment of his time there, captain. That's a Dan Campbell. That's the type of player that the Lions are looking for. You move on the defensive side of the ball. Again, Dallas Turner, you can go up and get him.
Oh, yeah.
You pull that trigger. But you want to wait a little bit. I didn't see a lot of him during the season, even though he's up in Kalamazoo, up in Portage, Michigan. But Marshawn Nealand, edge rusher out of Western Michigan, he really surprised me. And, JB, I don't know if you have that clip of Marshawn Nealand doing it was the hoop drills, but he showed a lot of people, or surprised a lot of people with his athleticism as a big guy. Excuse me, he's 6'3", 267, and he is powerful. His 7.02 second three-cone drill, which is one of the best predictors of edge rusher success, led all the edge rushers in the entire Combine. So you pair that on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson, man, Marshawn Nealand, that's one of those guys, 4.57 40. He's got a great frame and great length, 34.5-inch arm length. This is a guy 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th round. He falls. That's the type of defender I want later on in the draft.
Yeah. You know what, man? The chat, they're on one today, man. Chat, like I said, give yourselves a like as well today. I forgot who said it, but let me see if I can find it. They said that we need to get some great size shirts up on the shop market.
Oh, we got to ask Brendan Dillinger if we're allowed to use that. Brendan Dillinger in the chat.
Yeah.
He's our great. He's always come. To be honest, I thought he was a bot for the first couple months.
I swear.
Because all he would come.
Always say that.
But he's actually pretty funny, and he just now uses the great size as a way to frame everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Not mad at it.
Not mad at it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Maybe we'll finish off some scouting combine. Maybe we'll talk about that defensive tackle out of Miami, who is looking to be on the free agent market here shortly.
Yep. Hey, we need the people to get their mailbag questions in as well, and stay tuned for what's trending with JB Smooth.
Jay Bizzle.
Duh.
You know what? The people are going to be in as well on, my rock, Michael Buffer. We're going to hype up what's trending here, too. We have to.
Michael Buffer?
The Buffer family.
Yeah, the announcer.
Yeah,
boxing announcer.
Oh, got you.
Ready to rumble him.
Yeah.
His name's Michael Buffer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And his brother does the UFC. Yeah, Michael Buffer. I forgot his brother's name, but
I forget the brother's name.
Yeah,
too,
but he does
last name
UFC.
Buffer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, there we go. MB.
Yep.
Tell him.
Yeah, Bruce. Yep.
Yep. But I got to tell you guys about Lady James first.
Yup.
Definitely, man. Hey, look, March Madness. It's March. It's almost here. I'm going to be there, and I can tell you how you can attend as well. If you come to Lady James Haircuts for Men, for an award-winning haircut experience, register to win a trip of your dreams, an all-expenses-paid trip and suite for the 2024 NCAA tourney. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. It's Lady James Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is
Make it awesome.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Come tap in with Woodward Sports. We got all your Detroit sports coverage all day long. You start the day with us. Wake up Woodward, 8 to 10 every morning. That's Flannel, that's Broder, that's Kool-Aid, that's JB, and that's me. Then you got Big D Energy from 11 to 1, and that's Neil Rule and the Red Wings legend Darren McCarty. And then you're going to finish up your day with Armani and Edwards with Maz every day 2 to 4. And then you got the heavies, Easy and Spencer 5 to 7. So Woodward Sports is your Detroit sports network, #1 all day long on air and social media.
Test.
There we go. There we go.
What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealership. And you know who else believes that and knows that? Malcolm Rodriguez.
That's
Rodrigo,
right.
man. Shout out to him. Just kind of popping up in the stream as well. That was pretty dope, man. That's a treat.
Yeah, no, Feldman Chevrolet, they take care of their people. I remember seeing clips before I even worked at Woodward Sports. He was here supporting Feldman Chevrolet. The heavies were getting close with him. Malcolm's one of those guys. He's part of the change in this entire franchise.
Yeah.
Malcolm Rodriguez is a huge part of that. That
So
was a
it's
2021 draft.
Yeah, it's that identity that Brad Holmes is always talking about and referencing. It's a certain type of player. It's not necessarily what you might consider as it relates to their speed or their, as the chat continues to talk about their great size or whatnot. It's about what they do out there on that field and who they are in the locker room and what they're willing to do when called upon. And we've seen it. Like we said, from Malcolm Rodriguez to Jalen Reeves-Maven, they got a team full of players that will go out there and do what's necessary and what's needed to make sure this team can continue to improve.
Yes. And by the way, I said 2021 draft. 2022, 6th-round draft pick, Malcolm Rodriguez. Great size, great girth. As does
Fast forward.
the defensive tackle position.
This guy.
It's true. It's true. But speaking of girth, Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, sir. What are we talking about now?
That is a wide man. That is a big boy. That
just don't stop, dude.
How do you want me to describe him? He is a run-stuffing, quarterback, decapitating type defensive tackle. Still young, 28 years old, I believe.
All right.
It's the discussion, the expectation.
Ryan's reaction says great size.
Oh, great size, phenomenal size. The size of his contract is going to be pretty large too, but not as large as Chris Jones. He's not going to get or the rumors are the Dolphins are not going to franchise tag him, which would have been about $22 million a year. So he's going to hit the free agent market. And the estimates, this is from Spot Track, he's likely looking for around 4 years, $81 million contract, which is what's that, about $20.2 million a year. So just below that franchise tag mark. He's a defensive tackle. You could plug and play right next to Aleem McNeil. This is a question I ask all you guys here in the chat. Is Christian Wilkins someone that now the Detroit Lions need to turn their attention to? Go get Christian Wilkins? I'm Ron Burgundy.
It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, and it's not tough because of the type of player he is. It's tough because now they're finally in a position where the money can be spent. We talked about if they're going to make a splash on one side of the ball, defense or offense. I would rather it honestly be defense. That's the position that needs to have, in my opinion, more playmakers on it. Is there things you can do to the offensive side of the ball to take a step forward? Yeah, there is. But when you talk about adding help on that defensive line to be able to free up players like Aleem, even more like Aleem McNeil, like Aiden Hutchinson, I don't think that this is a bad deal, but is that where you go and plunk her down with $20+ million a season?
My answer is no. KG, what's your answer?
I mean, I wouldn't be upset at it because he's a really good D tackle, plays the run very well. My only issue is his pass rush numbers. His past season, he had 9 sacks, so he's improving in that area. But I don't know, man. $20 million on Christian Wilkins. I mean, he would definitely be an upgrade. I'll say that. And putting him next to Aleem would only help him and Hutch. So I don't know, man, but I wouldn't be mad at it.
4 years, $20+ million. That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot. And to me, I think he's a little too close to Aleem McNeil. He's a little too similar, I should say. If you're going to go that more similar route, Chris Jenkins, go get him in the draft. Save your money and pay Aleem, extend Aleem, and keep building around him and Aiden Hutchinson. So while Wilkins is a fantastic player, I don't think he's the one you pay $20 million plus to.
Yeah, that's kind of my reserve as well, especially when you're talking about a Chris Jenkins type of player. I do believe that if Chris Jenkins is in a position where, you know what, trading back or trading back up to be able to draft him is something that's on Brad Holmes' list of things to do, I wouldn't be surprised at all, especially when you talk about the fact that they do have some players on that defensive line. They do. I keep going back and forth between do they need to go and get or sign a playmaker to go alongside Aiden Hutchinson and Lee McNeil and be able to really, really help these guys get home. But it's like there's certain players in this draft where if Aiden Hutchinson is supposed to be that guy and we expect him to take a step forward. If Aleem McNeil, he's coming up, is he coming up on a contract here?
He got one more year.
More year?
I think he's in the final year of his contract. I'll double check, but it's coming up soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You talk about that contract year bump. Sometimes when you go and you get a guy like a Chris Jenkins, like you said, you can save yourself some money, and you get a player who's looking to enter in and accept your identity. He's not coming necessarily with baggage. A guy like Chris Jenkins is coming off of a national championship as well, and he was coached underneath Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter. And coming to the Lions, I think a little bit more ready. I think several of these defensive line players are. I would rather them make a splash, honestly, in the defensive backfield than on a defensive line. If I had to pick one or the other. But, KG, what are your thoughts on it, man?
I would much rather them probably spin that on the edge. But they do need interior line help. So, I mean, I'm not mad at the approach either way. If you get Chris Jenkins in here, you get him on a rookie deal, and you see what you got with him. But they need help regardless. So anything would be an upgrade at this point. And I'm just interested to see how they attack it.
Definitely. Yeah. My guts tell me, especially at the defensive tackle position, they're approaching it with depth. This is that unit that they want as many defensive tackles, as many guys on the defensive line to just keep rotating in, bring them in fresh, have more specialized player come in on third down. I think that's the end goal, which makes me think they're going to be signing veterans at a much lower salary and drafting one or two interior defensive linemen.
Yeah, and that's what Eduardo O'Neill, he said is, yes, Kool-Aid, let's do both. And I do. My statements were more or less on if they go out and they make this splash at $20+ million a year, where would you make that splash at? But I'm hoping that the Detroit Lions on the defensive side of the ball bring in the right type of vets. That's my only worry. Just the type of guys that can come in, mesh with this locker room. And if you're going out into this draft and bringing in players at these same positions as well, making sure that these guys can be the ones ready to receive those contract extensions in 2 or 3 years down the road, 3-4 years down the road as well. This has kind of been the signature of Brad Holmes, is being able to draft these guys, and Dan Campbell talked about it as well, being able to keep your homegrown players here. Yeah. We haven't seen anything like this. You talked about it, KG. You said that you haven't seen this in what, ever? You haven't seen them pick below like 15 or 16.
I swear. When have we ever seen the Lions pick in the 20s? That wasn't like a trade or anything. I don't even
Frank
know if they
Ragnow was the last
20.
one, I think, at 20.
Yeah.
So that's 2017.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. You were talking about homegrown talent, also bringing in the right free agents. I know we got to get to break because we got to get back to what's trending with JB Smoove. But here's a name that isn't going to be sexy to you guys, but I think is a type of fit for a one-year contract. If you can pry him from Philadelphia, it's Brandon Graham.
Yeah.
Outside linebacker. He's, I think, 36 maybe, 35, 36, 37. But if you can convince him, he is one of the greatest guys in the NFL, every year up for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, respected in every community he's been in. You can convince him to come back for a one-year deal, help the Lions get over that hump and chase a Super Bowl, help mentor Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, some of these younger defensive linemen. Brandon Graham, you probably get him for $8-9 million for a year.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about it.
Man.
Go Blue.
You know what? They got a bevy of options, man. They really do. It's because of the way that this organization is being run now. And I got another great run organization as well.
Tell me about them.
It's Premier Pet. I don't got my lion chain today, but
you got a Grizzly.
You got the Grizzly here right now, man. And I got a Premier Pet Supply to give my pets the best, man. It's hands down Michigan's best pet store, same prices, and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers with one major difference. Family and locally owned and operated for 30+ years. See? Great organization.
30.
Well run.
Come on.
They got over 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you same day, local curbside and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Big Boy Seafood Fest is sailing in with a fresh catch of favorites. Dive into fish and chips, our new palm-crusted cod, perfectly fried clam shrimp platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. Try our new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to our popcorn shrimp, our all-new fried pickles, shrimp alfredo, or shrimp stir-fry. Experience all the sea has to offer every Friday night with our all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Every day is a fish fry, only at Big Boy.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. They got 18 locations, so there's got to be a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Just visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Also, check us out here at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Monday. It's an incredible place. You can see all the people walking around behind us. You can see all the cars out on the lot. It's part of what makes – you might even see Rodrigo. We saw him here earlier. All of this is what makes Feldman Chevrolet Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Let's go. What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for spending and starting your morning with us today and the whole crew. We got Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG. We have, and he's on the sounds today, Mr. Broder, man. We got JB Smooth, Woodward Sports' MVP on the TD booth. Did I say that correctly? You don't look as entertained. Okay.
Well, he's not in a booth right now. He's just surrounded by, he's just a titty. TD.
He's just a loose titty.
Yeah. Been a glass case of emotion.
Oh, man. We take the show on the road, man. We got our Lions and Tigers credential beat writer and reporter over here, Mr. Matthew Broder, and your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. And again, we're at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. It is Michigan's #1 Chevy dealership. But do you guys know what time it is? It's time for the #1 segment.
#1.
In sports
Never
entertainment.
lost.
You know what?
Yeah, you got to put the sauce on that Kool-Aid. Come on now.
I got to do it, right?
Come on.
You guys ready for this? I don't think they're ready for it, man.
I think they are.
It's time for the most electrifying segment in sports entertainment. If you smell what JB Smooth is cooking with what's trending. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Talk to me, Smoothness.
JB.
Gotta get the camera all set up straight over here, but
soon enough, we're gonna be hearing JB's name at LCA.
Oh man, come on with all that stuff now. Come on. It's true. But I gotta give a shout out once again. Shout out Horizon League champions. You're Golden Grizzlies.
Let's go.
Yeah, gotta shout them out once again. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Also, once again, I gotta shout out the Rockers on this.
Yeah.
Their Friday victory.
Go.
#17, TJ Sneath got that game-winning goal in OT, the shootout OT. I've never seen a shootout actually at a hockey game, so this was my first time, and it was pretty entertaining.
Hey, hold on, though.
Lie. What's up?
Bro, next time, no, because we want to feature them, but you're also in the building, too, doing great work. We got to get some type of video or footage of you throwing down in the DJ booth. He goes from the TD booth to the DJ booth for the Rockers, man. We got to get some footage of this. I know you're throwing down.
I know. I mean, it's that versatility.
There you go. You're Brad Holmes. You're a Brad Holmes type of guy.
That versatility, as they say. But first off, I got to show you this video. I want you guys to help me grade Ethan's worksheet, we'll say.
Okay.
That is not that. It is an egg. Nice try, Ethan. Okay, next one. Chair. All right, that was good.
Nice.
Thomas.
Thomas the Train.
He's technically not wrong here.
Right?
He's technically not wrong. I would give it to him.
But it's a train. It's a cloud. That's correct. Mm-hmm. Drugs.
I mean.
He's not wrong again.
Right now, he's 4 or 5 for me, man.
Okay. This.
Remember?
I'm sure we all remember this.
Don't.
You guys remember Dare?
Yes. What's it stand for again?
Okay. OnlyFans. I mean, he's not technically wrong again, but it's a lot, Ethan. It's a lot.
Snap.
Props to his parents.
I love lamp.
And
Hung like a horse.
Oh,
that's
boy.
just a
Oh, my
horse.
God.
That's just a horse, Ethan. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
You did a somewhat good job, Ethan. You know,
You're
4
so
out of 9.
elite. You're so elite with this.
4 out of 9. You can do better, but you know.
You can do better.
You could do better, Ethan.
I don't know, man. He wound up on Wake Up Woodward this morning, so
You could do better, Ethan. But
Shout out to his parents though for having great parental controls on their Wi-Fi, on their Internet Explorer, maybe Safari, maybe Google Chrome. Quality. The lock sign. He's seen that before. He's searching.
yeah, maybe he saw that Guardian alarm.
He might have.
He
might have. Is that Ethan's Buggins? Ethan Buggins from the chat?
Wow.
I have no idea. But I mean, maybe you want to monitor what he's doing as of lately, or when he's on his phone or his tablet. But
Yeah, my OnlyFans is always unlocked.
oh, damn it! It's always unlocked.
Yeah.
Forward.
Yeah.
I'm so mad the teacher wrote Dare on there, though. That was like, JB, that was great, man.
But I got to show you guys this one last video. I now know why there is such a thick glass at all these hockey games.
Goes around the net. They're trying to go around the net. Gets played nicely there by Cougars. Stop there. Feeble shot. Score! What a goal! Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. That is why we have the borders, people. That is what happens. Goes around the net. They're trying to go around the net. Gets played nicely there by Cougars. Stop there. Feeble shot. Score! What a goal! Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. That is why we have the borders, people.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a high school team, but yeah, exactly. But that was what's trending with JB. Back to you guys.
Wow.
That was electric.
It was a blowout game, too. It looked like it was 7-2. I mean, high school hockey, by the way. So I went to Cranbrook. They always had a great high school hockey team. So they had games up at CompuWare in Plymouth. I know it's the home to a lot of USA Hockey and whatnot.
Yep.
But celebrating, state titles, especially in hockey, the hockey players they're built different.
Yeah,
they're built different.
You know what? The chat, they love what's trending today, man. They said that test Brian Ruth. He said that's that dog mentality. Mm-hmm. Corey Berry, he gets an A in street smarts.
Yeah, he does.
That's true. I wonder how old Ethan was.
Eduardo O'Neill, bro, are you dropping the OnlyFans later?
Oh yeah, debut.
You gotta drop that in the chat, right?
Yeah, 100%. No feet.
Brian Roof Dare, McGruff the Crime Dog. I was in middle school.
Fred McGriff, the crime. You guys remember Fred McGriff? The
Mike
crime
G
dog.
said, is this a QB test at the combine?
No, McGriff. Who's McGruff?
Yeah, McGruff the crime dog.
Oh.
Who's McGruff?
McGruff is the crime dog. I don't know who McGriff is.
You don't know Fred McGriff? McGruff, the crime dog?
I don't know who the hell McGriff is.
I wonder if Fred McGriff got his nickname from this.
Who is Fred McGriff?
Fred McGriff, he was a was he outfield or first baseman? Tampa Bay Rays. I believe he spent some time with the Braves. But he had these clips. I used to know it off the top. There's a jingle. But he would sell these DVDs of, get better at baseball. I'm going to find it, unless someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about.
We do got a couple mailbags, too.
Axe them.
All right.
While I'm looking up this Fred McGriff clip, if you see one, ask.
Hey, we did have one. Let me see here. Oh, Big Show Picks mailbag. Can we get the guys at Woodward to take the Wonderlic test live?
Ethan's Wonderlic test?
I think.
Yup.
We should take that one as well.
We should
recreate that one, man.
I wonder what Easy and Spenny would put.
Huh?
I can't hear you.
Dope. JB says he's gonna look forward to tomorrow. And yeah, I don't mind taking the Wonderlic, man, just to see what's what. See if we're Brad Holmes type of guys, right?
Tommy Mansky. That's who it was. Tommy Mansky's baseball commercials. You guys know what I'm talking about. Throw the ball into the garbage can, tilt it on its side.
I might.
Remember. You got another question?
Big Dan Davis said,
James.
John Cena is on OnlyFans doing T-back. I can't read that.
Remember, our microphones are being broadcasted across this whole store.
Yeah, I can't read that. JB put it up on the.
Oh, hell no. What?
Let's leave this conversation for when we're in the studio.
Okay, yeah.
We are in public. Fellas.
Jesus.
Have mercy.
What were you about to say, brother?
I just blacked out.
Yo, the chat was on one today, man.
And you guys watch Iowa women's basketball last night? Caitlin Clark set the all-time record.
Yeah, over Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete over Antoine Davis from University of Detroit.
Yeah.
Let's go. Caitlin Clark, how many was it? It was 3,685 points, broke Pete Maravich's all-time record.
Yes, shout out.
Hey, I do have one from Eduardo O'Neill. Mailbag, how do KG and JB feel about how Swerve lost last night? Hangman beef for that.
Man, well, they building Hangman as a like real good heel. Hopefully they are trying to build Swerve up because he deserves a world title run in my opinion. But their rivalry is just gonna keep going. It seems like so. I mean, it is what it is. But Swerve needs to have the world title eventually.
Swerve.
What you feel about it, JB?
You probably said the majority of it as it is, but I mean, I would like Swerve to get that world title, but yeah, they're probably going to keep beefing back and forth probably the next, month or two. I swear. Get those pay-per-view views off as much as they can. Yeah, but, hey, if it's still bringing in money, it's still going to happen. And it's a honorable night for Sting last night, his last match. Yeah.
And you know what, man? Pistons fans, they're still locked in, man, because it's Detroit sports fans. I haven't really known them to be largely bandwagon fans, and I don't take that as it relates to who's in the stadium. You look at just how passionate they are. Shot 216 says, mailbag, I'm actually fine with how this season is going for the Pistons. Let the season be the experimental season to see what works in a bigger sample size. And that's what it was supposed to be. Troy Weaver did say 7 days before free agency started this past season that this was the year that they were going to go now and actually look at what they have from a young player standpoint to see what they need to do moving forward. And KG's just over there like, I'm done with it.
They should have been did that. But
that was the problem with the first half of the season. It's like they didn't even have a chance to see what the team looked like with a couple of veterans. I'm not saying they would have been good, but there was no building anything. You're waiting for guys to get healthy. You didn't have it was a mess.
It was never supposed to be this bad.
And a whole new coach and a whole new system. And look, when we talk about you got a new coach, usually it's like, yo, you got to get to learn your players. We're talking about a whole new coach who came in and just said, like, yo, Jaden Ivey's just not going to play.
Which is crazy.
Which was absolutely crazy to me. Now we see them at least starting to kind of get on some type of trend with their rotation. So, like I said, this has to be the last season of it. I agree with you, KG. I didn't want to see this happen this year.
Yeah.
It should have been better. All the metrics said that they should be better in the win column. Next season, though, you got to make sure that you are taking a solid step forward like we saw the Houston Rockets do this season, like we saw the Orlando Magic do this season as well. You got to find yourself in that type of position. And if not, honestly, you failed this so-dubbed, self-named from the Pistons restore, this rebuild. And you're going to be failing players who don't deserve this, like Cade Cunningham, like Jalen Duren, like Jaden Ivey. You got to make sure you take this thing a step forward. And honestly, the one thing that I've liked about the Detroit Lions in a rebuild that I think kind of goes unnoticed, their players are empowered. I don't get that same sense with the Detroit Pistons right now. You're drafting between number 1 and number 5. You have several players that were top 5 picks or higher in Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, and Cade Cunningham, and you had Jalen Duren 5th on your board. Empower your players. Allow them the ability to be able to go out there and at least work with the coach in terms of what they think is best as well. The Detroit Lions, I don't get the sense. When we look at Jared Goff, a player who was coming from the L.A. Rams who thought he just doesn't fit our system. The Detroit Lions brought him here, and they said, you know what? We know he can make any throw that we believe. We do believe that he can audible. We do believe and trust him at going to the line and calling the plays. They show trust in their players. And that's what I love about the Detroit Lions organization, even more so than all the other things that we talk about from their talent evaluation. It's the trust that they have in these guys. If you're bringing in these players, trust your players.
Trust them.
Trust them.
Trust them. I'll leave you guys with this. I'll put out the last mailbag question of the day.
Let's go.
I'll ask you guys and ask the chat. With the 6th or the 7th round pick in this year's NFL draft, should the Lions take Joe Milton, quarterback out of Tennessee?
Absolutely not.
It's okay,
He put on a show.
I mean,
he's Hendon Hooker's best friend.
We don't need another quarterback. It is what it is. We have Goff. We have Hooker.
Well, we do need another quarterback.
How about a kicker?
Yeah, how about that? I'll take a kicker that late. Sure.
All right.
KG ain't for it today.
We got to stop with the QB nonsense, man. It's over. Goff's the QB.
I'm not saying replace.
Yeah, I
Goff.
know. But We did see a question like, do we need a QB in the draft? Like, no, we don't.
We need another quarterback.
Yeah, but
it's probably a veteran.
You can sign a 1-year deal to send Joe Schmo off the street.
I agree with you. You need somebody that can come in and kind of play the same role from a vet standpoint that Teddy Bridgewater did as well. And it wasn't just what he was in the quarterback room, but who he was for these young wide receivers, especially like Jamison Williams. I want to see another quarterback that can come in. A veteran. And be able to play that role. But in terms of Milton, it was cool to hear him say some nice things about J.J. McCarthy and the U of M football team, but that's about all that I really want to see of Joe Milton as it relates to somewhere close to the Detroit Lions.
Good luck in his endeavors.
He can let it fly. I forgot Nate Sudfeld is going to be healthy this season as that backup.
Awesome.
Well, there you're a veteran right there. Nate Sudfeld.
He and Jared Goff got a good thing going. Real talk. Nate Sudfeld's more important to Jared Goff than people think. All right. Well, Kool-Aid, take us out.
Hey,
we're over.
Will. Chat family, thank you guys. We crossed that 100-like barrier. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the way out to continue to support your morning show. We're aiming to be the best possible morning show, even outside of sports, just in media, period, man. The laughs, the information, the coverage, the interaction, and how we feature you all out there. Thank you so much for tuning in and starting your day with Wake Up Woodward. Hey, listen. For our Detroit's #1 draft pick, man, we got KG.
Thank you.
Over there on Sounds, man. You crushed today. Thank you for, even your comments and everything today. It's always great conversation amongst the boys. Shout out to Woodward Sports' MVP, JB Smooth, over there on TD, right? He's not in the booth today. It's just a loose Shout out to our 6-man Terry Foster and Sam Reynolds, Flannel Sam as well. I know he's going to be on Big D Energy today. Shout out to him. Can't wait to get him back in the Wake Up Woodward crew next week for our Detroit Lions and Detroit Tigers beat reporter and writer. We got Mr. Matthew Broad over here, a.k.a. Fast Forward.
And before we get to you, Mike G says, deuces, peace, girth. Take us away.
Please do.
Right after I say a.k.a. Fast Forward, right?
Great I just had to get that in. I didn't know when to squeeze it in. But it's Kool-Aid, our Detroit Pistons.
We gotta go, man. We gotta go.
Yeah, this is why I should stop talking after 10 o'clock.
Oh, God. Well, there you go, Kool-Aid. Follow that up.
Brandon DK, Detroit Kool-Aid. Credential Detroit Pistons beat writer and reporter. And this has been Wake Up Woodward, man. What up, though, Detroit? Have a blessed day, you all.
Fish and tips.
What up, though, baby? Hey, tell us about Oakland University Golden Grizzlies men's basketball team, man. What just went down here?
Oh, do you mean the regular season Horizon League champions?
Yes,
Is that what you mean?
Let's go!
Let's go! Horizon League champs, baby! Regular season!
Let's go!
It's tournament time! It's tournament time!
Horizon League regular season champion!